Chapter 1. It was a nice day for a ball game, sunny and mild in the mid-70s, with a slight breeze blowing in from left field. Rico inhaled, appreciating the sweet scent of steaming hot dogs that hung in the air just above the stadium seats. Here we go, into the bottom of the seventh, all tied up 1-1. This is turned into a dandy. Rico opened his eyes. It was a nice day for a ball game, all right, but he was watching it on TV from his favorite easy chair. There were no hot dogs. He had closed his eyes for a second between innings and had drifted away, only to be ushered back to wakefulness by the practiced cadence of the announcer's voice. "Oh well," he said to himself out loud. "Time for a beer." He rose, and as he did, his phone rang. It was his landline, a relic he knew, but after so many years, he couldn't bear to part with it. Almost no one called him on it except telemarketers and, of course, his stunningly attractive girlfriend, Jean. Along with the remote, the phone rested on a small side table next to his chair. He glanced at the caller ID, grabbed the remote, and lowered the volume on the TV. He picked up the phone and eased back down into his chair. "Hit me," he said. "Still watching the game?" Jean asked on the other end. "Yeah." "Close game?" "Right again." "I guess it wouldn't be the best time to ask for a favor then." 3 out of 3, he said. "What if I asked real nice?" she teased. "That wouldn't help," Rico said. Jean frowned and rolled her eyes. "Rico? But I'll come and get you anyway." "Read my mind again," Jean said. "It doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to figure out you bought more than you and the old guy could carry. Do me a favor. Next time take the car." "Well, I would have if I'd known. But it's such a beautiful day and—" "Hold it," Rico interrupted, staring at the TV and turning the volume up. In the background, the announcer roared, "A swing and a miss! Struck him out!" "Listen," Rico said, "if you're ready now, I'll come and get you, okay?" "We'll be ready, Sherlock." He started to tell her gently what she could do with the Sherlock comment, but she had already disconnected. He smiled to himself and shook his head in mock exasperation. He glanced at his watch and calculated how long it would take to drive to the supermarket and back. If he was lucky, he figured he could make it back in time to see the end of the game. In the meantime, he could listen on the car radio. Rico stood and headed for the door. As he reached it and started to turn the knob, he hesitated. He was missing something he almost always carried with him. He turned around and his eyes focused on a straight-back chair, an arm's length away from his easy chair. On it hung a powder blue shoulder holster, inside of which rested a .45 Sig Sauer P226 automatic. He had thought about replacing it with the newer .320, but there was nothing wrong with his trusty .226. When he got rid of his landline, maybe he would think about trading up to the .320. He had heard that the Navy SEALs were finally switching from Sig Sauers to Glocks to bring them in line with the rest of the Navy and the other branches of the armed services. He thought that was a mistake. The Glock and the Sig are both fine, reliable pistols, and most shooters would be hard-pressed to distinguish between the two where accuracy is concerned. But Rico wasn't most shooters, and he could tell the difference. He lingered another moment, then checked his watch again. It was too nice a day to wear a jacket. Besides, he was going a few blocks and would only have to get out of the car for a minute or two to help Jean with the groceries. "What the hell?" he said out loud. He turned the doorknob the rest of the way and walked out. Minutes later, he exited his apartment building, donning his ever-present aviator sunglasses as he walked out into the bright sunlight. He was a big man, athletic and tall, with a long, confident stride. His car was parked on the street, about a 3-minute walk away. Once inside, he started the car and turned the radio on to the station broadcasting the game. Bottom of the 8th, still tied 1-1. As Rico neared the supermarket a few minutes later, he noticed a group of preteens playing baseball in a field across the street from the supermarket. They reminded him of the days he used to play the game with a motley crew of kids in his old neighborhood. Even at 12 or 13, he was a crack outfielder and could hit the ball a mile. The kid at the plate today looked like a pretty good hitter, too. Rico could tell by his fluid practice swings and the way, holding the bat, he cocked his wrists at his waist and planted his feet in the deep imaginary batter's box. Still admiring the boy's batting stance, Rico pulled into the supermarket parking lot and slowed his car to a crawl so he could watch the first pitch.